Oh,
Mark Diggins?
is that
Uh,
is
nice
that
to
Jim
meet you.
Peterik?
Have
It's
I, have I have I talked to you before, Mark?
only in person,
Oh my God, where was that?
many years ago. Um, it was in I think it was in Oklahoma City.
What were you doing there, for God's sakes?
I've got a few friends in Oklahoma. It's a wonderful state, um,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's um, wonderful to finally meet the man who I didn't know for many years that you wrote Vehicle.
That's one of those little surprises.
It is. It's wonderful, and I've been listening to the new album all week. And before we get into some of the songs from there, I'd absolutely love to ask you a question about big cats.
You love what?
I'd like to ask you a question about big cats.
Big cats. That's what I thought
Yeah.
you said. Well,
Um,
yeah. I have well, we'll talk about that.
there's sort of a connection threading through the years.
There,
A lot of your projects there.
there is. There's a power and a sexiness in big cats. What can I tell you?
Let's leave it at there for now. It must have been wonderful bringing some of these voices together for the new project.
Well, it was. It really was. This was a kind of a challenge in a way, because Serafino Perugino, as you know, the head of Frontiers, really said, Jimbo, this was about a year and a half ago, or even more now, time for a new world stage album, and I'm going, well, I kind of just did one, oh, but yeah. I said, and then I'm thinking on my feet, I said, how about a all woman world stage album? And he thought about it. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Started talking about it, and I got very excited at a new challenge. And he said he greenlighted it, and all of a sudden I'm going through my contacts and seeing who I could get for this. And of course, some of my top choices weren't available.
Yeah,
Well, they're all my top choices. I don't want to. I
of
don't want to.
course. Yeah.
You know, but I mean, some of the biggest stars, like Ann Wilson and Fleetwood Mac, like they were unavailable. Let's just say that. And if they were available, they wanted like my whole budget,
Yeah.
and
Not,
they are worth it. But I only had so many dollars, so I started really thinking of some realistic, people options, and I called my dear friend Joel Hoekstra because you know Joel, correct?
yeah. Oh yes. Yeah. I've
Yeah,
spoken to Joel many a time.
who doesn't? And he's
Yeah.
I'm not bragging, but I kind of started him off in the business, and he'll tell you that. But
I
if
think
he
you told
doesn't,
me that a lot of people I've spoken to over the years have mentioned your name. So it's finally it's a wonder to actually speak to the great man himself. So
well,
I'll drop a few of those names later on.
well, that's please do. But Joel, was extremely helpful in not only suggesting some of the gals that he's worked with, but also making sure they knew that I was okay.
Yeah.
He didn't have to work too hard. Apparently, he said everybody was really interested in it. And the first gal that he contacted is Chloe Lowry. He worked with her, in Canada and a few other projects. And I think she was also on the West Coast with his, the Christmas thing he does. What is
Yeah.
that called? Yeah,
Trans-Siberian. Yeah.
right. So Chloe was with Trans-Siberian, and he made an introductory call to me and Chloe, and she was actually the first sign-on for the
Okay.
project. And what a great
What a
singer!
voice.
What a
Yeah.
voice! What a great gal! And it turned out she is the singer of the first video, Prom Night in Pontiac, and on the video, and you've seen the video,
Yeah,
perhaps.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. I think she does two of my favorite songs. I love Music in the Air as well. That's a great one.
Uh, you'll have to tell her. I'll tell her. That's funny. Well, you're the only one so far, and I haven't done that many interviews. I just started this week, but that has mentioned music in the air.
Okay.
So I'm Mr. Confident. I'm figuring, well, that must be a real dog. No one's mentioned it.
It's a great song. I mean, they're all great songs, and it's good to see. I know Janet and Justin very well, and I love Lazarus Hart.
Oh,
Another one of my picks.
oh man, thank you. That is one of my favorites too. And one of the challenges was to try to capture the artist in captivity. In other words, which is a weird way of saying. Uh, I didn't want to pitch a song uh, to Janet that was totally foreign to her past, but I wanted to put the Peterik spin on it and make it mine, but really make it hers. And I sent her Lazarus Heart. I demoed it with another singer, and boom, right away. Oh yeah, yeah, I want to do that. Which is really a compliment. And she's one of my heroes in terms of female singers. I was very lucky to get her.
Yeah, no, I love it. Love her new solo stuff. I mean, you've worked with Kathy Richardson obviously before as well, and I think Full Moon Crazy is another one that I keep playing. That's a really fun song. But I think is the other one the best in us? I'm not sure.
The best in us.
Yeah,
That's with
that's
her and
Kimmy, I think.
Kimmy Hayes,
Yeah, yeah.
who's probably unknown to you. I'm not sure.
Very unknown to me. That
Yeah,
was a nice surprise.
yeah. She's uh, she's a star in Chicago. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
She's been in bands her whole life and been a part of my world stage many times as background and lead. But she's an asset that people are going to get to know more and more through this record. She had a bad spin of luck where she was on Broadway with a play just as COVID hit,
Oh
and
wow.
it of course was a mind blower. And I tried to I think this project kind of lifted her out of the doldrums of disappointment. So it's kind of
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's a wonderful collection of songs. Is there a chance of getting out on stage playing it live? What's the situation where you are? I mean, it's very different all over the place at the moment.
Oh, it sucks, but we are playing. The Ides of March are doing shows. Uh, we have a thing called Cornerstones of Rock, which are many of the 60s bands from Chicago, Crying Shames, Shadows of Night. Uh, who else? Buckingham's Ides of
Oh
March.
yeah.
It's great. And we're doing our shows. And sometimes, there's less capacity and more spread in the audience or whatever. But we're rocking it. And I'm actually going to Italy.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
yeah, with with my wife. It's on a wine junket with Mindy Aber, who's another phenomenal part of this album. She's saxophone and harmony vocal uh, on Brave is the New Beautiful. Brave is Beautiful. That's the new
Yeah.
title. And yeah, so she and her husband, he's like a wine distributor. So they created a company that does these wine experiences, and
Wow. Sounds like my sort of thing, Jim.
that sounds pretty fun, huh? Uh, so she said, "Well, Jim, if you and Karen want to go, you just do one set all week, and you got a free ride." And I go, "I'm in." You know.
Very
So
nice.
yeah, we leave October 31st, and we're going to be in Tuscany. So that's going
Well,
to be fun.
have a safe trip. Before I ask you the question I really want to ask you, I've got a very quick one for you. I don't often read through Wikipedia, but in Wikipedia it says that you came to my part of the world at the moment, which is Western Australia, in 2005 to play at the West Australian Music Industry Awards.
That's totally bullshit.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, Wikipedia. I mean, what? Come on. No, I would love to lie and say, oh, yeah, it was great. But I can't lie.
I thought I know I've been to many of those award nights, and we've never had anyone of your caliber there. So
That's crazy. No, false.
excellent, thank you for that. Now
You're
the big question, the one I have to ask is, I know you've got a lot of guitars, but what made you pick up that first one in the first place?
the first what?
The first guitar. What made you
Oh,
pick
you
up?
want to get into guitars? That's
Yeah, I
dangerous
do.
territory. Well, I mean, before the Beatles, it was the Ventures. Instrumental band. They were playing. And they had their matching suits and their multicolored fenders. There was a Jazzmaster, a Stratocaster, a jazz bass, all different colors. They were sharp. They were doing steps. Sign me up. And that was really my first love, was instrumental music. And then the Beatles hit, and I was sitting with the original four Ides of March, which are still together, by the way. And when Ed Sullivan presented the Beatles, we go, okay, we're in. Just a life-changing moment. I mean, so many musicians I talk to talk about that moment of the Beatles on the Ed Sullivan Show, and it set the course for us. And this is what we want to do, and this is how we want to write songs. And it gave us permission to write as a band. Not try to find outside songs or whatever. So that's how it all started.
It's a wonderful defining moment for so many people, and I think that shows you the power of the media back in those days when we had so few choices. It seemed to bring everyone together, and everyone sort of seems to share that common moment. Today, it's all over the place. It's not good. Which can you remember the first song you ever wrote?
Oh God, yeah, I sure can. It had the very cool title of "Like It or Lump It." Like it or lump it. And the Ides of March, we do this medley of the oldies, the really oldies.
Yeah.
And we start with Like It or Lump It, and then we do Roller Coaster, and then we do You Wouldn't Listen, which was actually a number 7 hit in 1966, number 42 on Billboard. We were on Dick Clark, we were on Mama Cass, we were doing all the shows, but it all started with Like It or Lump It. We pressed it up on our own epitome label, which everyone said epitome. It reminded me of the Oneaters, and that great thing you do, movie, the Oneaters. Epitome, no, epitome. Fuck you, it's epitome. Anyway, so like it or lump it, you're going to hear a few bars of this one. All right, I wasn't planning on it. Girl, I'm telling you for the very last time, you better not have another guy on your mind. You've been causing me so much misery and sorrow, but will you feel the same tomorrow? Let me tell you now, like it or lump it, like it or lump it, like it or lump it, that's how it's gonna be. Like it, lump it, like it, that's how it's gonna be.
Thank you so much for that, Jim. That's wonderful. I must admit, I've not heard that song before, and that is technically my first international concert since March
Oh,
2021.
that's sad. Well, look out. There's going to be a couple more coming.
Yeah, incidentally, one of the last international bands I saw was Janet Gardner. So it's a
Isn't that a
nice
coincidence?
connection there.
It
Yeah,
really is. She's a force of nature. I've blessed with so many great singers on this, with Kathy um,
yeah.
and Janet and on and on. And I got to mention, because I really got to mention Abigail I can never pronounce this, Stan Schmidt on fiddle. I mean, Tigress is an embarrassment of great talent. Kate French on lead vocal, who not used to be, but she's a heavy metal singer.
Yeah.
So when I got the first tape, it's like, that was her singing. And Joel said, no, she can sing normal too, you know. And sure enough, she can do it all. She's a gorgeous girl, just tremendous talent. Jennifer Batten on guitar. I mean, doesn't get too much better than Jen Batten. I remember seeing her with Michael Jackson, going, who is that Mohawk girl, you know, who's just ruling the stage? And now I work with her, and she's just so tremendous. And then Abigail Stanschmidt on fiddle. She's just an amazing electric violinist. So you put those three things together, and you got Tigress.
Yeah, it's a fantastic album. I mean, everyone should check it out. When I put the interview up, I'll put the review up there as well. But it's
Thank you.
already what are we now? We're October, and it's #1 in my albums of the year at the moment. So you just
That
got to
is
hold out,
really.
just that little bit longer till.
I will keep that in my heart. I appreciate
But
those.
I mean, you work with some. I'm a big fan of Pride of Lions, which is another one of those big cats. Wonderful music over the years, and hopefully that'll keep going on for us. But you work with some wonderful people over the years, and I ask everyone who's worked with him. But what about Brian? How was Brian?
Brian Wilson? Well, Brian is Brian, you know.
That's what everyone says.
He's a genius. You know, you got to catch him when he's doodling around on the piano, just very absentmindedly, and he plays this amazing progression. And I go, stop, and he goes, what? Play that again. What? That what we just played? I have learned that you got to keep the tape recorder rolling at all times with Brian, because he's just instinctual. He's childlike, actually, you know. But he's a great guy. We love each other, and they've got a tour coming up. I'm hoping to be in the front row, and who knows, he might even bring me on stage. Who knows?
That'll be fantastic.
He did that once or twice. But Brian is great, and I'm just so honored. I think this is something that Larry was very much involved with. That's why God made the radio. And Larry played me right on that piano right over there. This was back in about 2010. He played me this little, you know, I go, that's kind of neat, you know. And from there, I developed a little more. Then we showed it to Brian and Joe Thomas, and it blossomed into this thing called That's Why God Made the Radio. It made #2 on Billboard and sold 20,000 copies on one of those pledge drives at WTTW. And people still talk about that song. David Pack thinks it was the greatest song written of all time. I said, well, thank you. But it was a great compliment anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's a wonderful song. So many great bands you've been involved in, so many singers you've written songs for. Who would be top of your list of songwriters? I mean, who are the people that you really look to and admire?
Well, Lennon McCartney would have to be #1. Burt Bacharach, Hal David, and I don't want to put them in 2. They're all tied for top 5. You know, Cat Stevens. I just heard something not new, but an old song that he just redid, and he was one of my heroes growing up. You know, I'm being followed by a moon shadow. I had a joke back then, because it was such a gentle little song, and I was trying to get a record deal with all my heart hitting rock and roll, you know. And my joke was, I can just see this guy sitting in front of Joe Smith at Warner Brothers, and Joe goes, "Oh, what do you got?" And Cat goes, "I'm being followed. Get the fuck out of here." And yet it was fucking brilliant, you know. And so he's one of my heroes as well.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I mean, I've always loved his music. Well, all of those you mentioned as well. It's it, the thing. I guess the thing about your music is you've sort of had a career for forever, as far as I'm concerned, and you're still producing music that's of the huge quality. How do you do it?
I do it in nooks and crannies in my life. You know, it's not like it's ever a chore to sit down because I'm writing them all the time. I'm in the grocery store picking out, whatever, avocados, and oh my God, that's good. That's a good hook. Everybody knows if Peterik's talking into his phone, he's not talking into his phone, he's writing a song. And those are the way things come. You know, I just got back from Nashville, and I did the Grand Ole Opry. That just happened on Friday. And, you know, there was the Gatlin Brothers, and there was the Oak Ridge Boys, and they're doing their country thing, and amazing, just great. And the 4,500 people are applauding. Then this guy gets up here, and there's a hush, and then I go into view. Hey, well, I'm the friendly stranger in the black sedan. Won't you hop inside my car? And the place was, yeah! And those country people immediately became rockers. And the night of my life, Friday, and big standing O. And then I wasn't going to mess around. I told the Stallone story of getting the phone call from a guy that I thought was impersonating Stallone. And it was on my answer machine. So I just kind of ignored it. And Karen, my wife, goes, "Well, who is that?" I thought some joker pretending to be Stallone, you know. You better call him. Let me hear that again. "Hey, yo, Jim, give me a call. Sylvester Stallone. You better call him." So I did call him, and I said, you know, I was already a huge fan. Karen and I were, because of Rocky 1 and 2, and "Hey, Jimbo, what do you call me, Sly?" So here's me calling him my hero, Sly, and he says he got this new movie called Rocky 3, and I don't want to use that "Gonna Fly Now" song. It's a nice song, but I want something for the kids, something with a pulse. Can you help me out? I said, "Fuck yeah," and he just said, "Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to send you the rough cut of the movie, and I want you to write a song that's going to outlive you and me. Can you help me?" And I said, "No problem, Sly." And, you know, of course, Frankie and I were the founding members of Survivor, and he came over and we rented this big Betamax Pro, and we put the movie in, and we see Mr. T rising up, and Stallone kind of getting soft doing Master Charge commercials, you know. And I had my Les Paul around my neck, and I just started going, you know, like that. And the punches are being thrown, you know, and so I just started going. Wait for the punch. Drummers always say, why did you wait those extra 2 beats? It screws me up every time. I said, because I was waiting for a punch. And it always separates a good drummer from a bad drummer when they can't get that measure, you know. Yeah. But fortunately, most of them can. But, you know, in a couple of days, we had a demo of it. We went to the local studio and sent it to Stallone, and he just absolutely went berserk. He said, "I think you did write a song that's going to outlive you and me." But he made us go back in the studio and wrote him a third verse, because we got, as he said, a little lazy on me. You didn't write me a third verse. So, you know, I took the first verse and I just modified it. Rising up, straight to the top. have the guts, I got the glory. Went the distance, now I'm not gonna stop. Just a man and his will to survive. And there it was done. And the next thing I remember, we were in Hollywood on the red carpet. And, you know, I'm standing next to Terry Garr, who I adored. And so that was a big moment. But, you know, I expected Hollywood to be a little bit cold, and they were. I mean, oh, that's a good song. It's nice. But I really needed to get with the people. So in my hometown of LaGrange, I snuck into the theater on the first week it was out. And, you know, when it came on, the place goes fucking crazy. My homies, you know, and I'm in the back row, and I could leave right then. I said, I knew we had it right there. This is going to be enormous. Because that was the response of the regular people.
Is that when you know, when you get that feedback from the audience? Like, I mean, you've written some wonderful songs over the years, but do you ever know when you've written them? Do you ever think, wow, this is it?
Well, the reason I'm laughing is because you mentioned Vehicle, and that's a very good story because, you know, I wrote the song, we worked out the arrangement, and we started doing it at dances. And I mean, we're not of age, so we weren't doing bars. We were doing teen clubs and church socials and stuff like that. And we would always play Vehicle. And damn it, if the whole dance floor didn't always fill up when we were doing Vehicle. And we said, oh, that's cute, that's nice. But that's not a single. That's not a single. That's not a record. We didn't know. We had no clue. And we went in the studio and we cut 4 songs for Warner Brothers demos. And then the 4th song on the demo was something called Vehicle. We put it last because we didn't really believe it was a record. And Joe Smith calls our manager and said, those first 3 were okay, but the 4th one's a smash. We go, really? Yeah. And he says, here's what you do. All you got to do is, when you go love you, the band members gotta go love you, need you, want you, want. If you do that, you got a #1 record. Went back in the studio, and the rest is history.
It's it's a timeless song. I mean, it's a wonderful, wonderful song, and for many years pre-internet, I guess, I didn't tie the two Jim Peterik's together.
Well, you know, the thing about that song, and it's our own damn fault. We were so in love with Blood, Sweat, and Tears at the time, you know, and we went to the Kinetic Playground and we sat cross-legged on the floor with everyone else. And David Clayton Thomas was there with his burly lumberjack shirt, you know, and singing his ass off. And we were so enamored that we absorbed a lot of that Blood, Sweat, and Tears. On Vehicle, I swear to God, the take before the final, our producer says, would you stop trying to sound like fucking David Clayton Thomas? I said, I'm not. Yeah. He said, yes, you are. And the second take, I tried really hard not to sound like him. But there were still people to this day who thinks it's Blood, Sweat, and Tears. Nah. It's the Ides of March, man.
Yeah, of course it is. Of course it is. I was talking to Jeff Carlisi the other day.
Nice. One of my dear friends.
And he obviously, that connection with 38 Special is something that produced some wonderful songs. How did that connection come about? How did you?
Great story. So there's a very odd-looking character. I shouldn't say that. A very odd-looking character that was I would say, the czar of A&R men back in the late 70s all the way through the 90s. His name is John Kolodner. You've heard the legend and miracle of that gentleman. And we couldn't get arrested. Survivor couldn't get arrested with our demo tape. Everybody was, no, don't hear it. You know, all these suits. Anyway, finally, it got to Kolodner's desk, and he said, I want to see this band. If they're really the real thing, I'm going to fly into Chicago and hear them. So he did, and we rented SIR Studios, and this very odd looking guy came in, and he was, rocking back and forth as we played, playing with his beard. I'll never forget it. And he said, I love Somewhere in America. If you have one more like that, I'm signing this band. And so we played him a few songs, and no. Finally, I said, we got one more. And I had to beg the band to work this out 2 days before. It's called 2020. And everybody fought me. Oh, we don't need another song. Yes, we do. So we played 2020. I can see 2020. I don't know it on guitar, but I knew it then. And he said, play it again. Played it again. Then he goes, play it again. 6 times we had to play that song. And he said, I'm signing this band. And we all went to Nick's Fish Market on him, toasted a little champagne. And I remember driving home. I was sitting on a stack of equipment in the back of a U-Haul van, but I was the happiest guy in the world. And I knew we had a record deal. And that was the story, and pretty soon Colodner kind of became my mentor, not only with Survivor, but the first band he put me together with was 38 Special.
Oh, wow.
And he was like that guy. He was playing Cupid. He put me together through the years with Outlaws, Henry Paul, Aerosmith, although the songs we wrote together with didn't make the record. It was a great experience. But probably the most successful two was Sammy Hagar. He put us together, and first song we wrote together was Heavy Metal, which was a big song, big record. And the other band was 38 Special. And they flew into Chicago. Don Barnes here, Jeff Carlisi there. And we're sitting around the kitchen table kind of like deer in the headlights, because we didn't know each other. And suddenly Jeff says, why do you have a picture of the Ides of March on the wall? I said, because that's me on the left. You're shitting me. You were in that band? And I start playing a little vehicle, Oh, man. I love that band. I love that song. So the ice was broken. And Don Barnes says, well, I got a title. And I said, what is it? He goes, Hold On Loosely. I said, that's cool. I like the sound of that. But don't let go. But don't let go. Hold on. And Jeff goes, well, I got a riff. I said, well, let's hear that. And he goes, I said, yeah, that'll do. And I started becoming the alchemist in the room, and I just started free associating, which is what I do, You see it all around you, good love and gone bad. And usually it's too late when you realize what you had. My mind goes back to the girl I met long years ago, who told me just hold on loosely, but don't let go. If you cling too tightly, you're gonna lose control. Your baby needs someone to believe in, whole lot of space to breathe in. Of course, it took more than a few minutes to do that.
Oh, I thought that was exactly how it happened.
No, exactly how it happened. But at least I did have the first line. But you see it all around you, good love and gone bad. But it didn't take long to finish that song. And we sent it to Mark Spector, the manager, and he goes, you've got a top 10 record here. And they demoed it, and it was like, oh, unstoppable. You just knew. You just knew it was a hit.
Yeah, it's some wonderful stuff. And the Sammy Hagar Heavy Metal, another one of my favorite songs. It just doesn't stop. And is there anyone, though, that you'd love to have worked or collaborated with that you never had the chance to?
Well, so many. Yeah, I mentioned Bacharach and Hal David. And it looks like I'm going to be able to meet Burt Bacharach very soon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, through a publisher, but I don't know that he's still writing.
I don't think he is, no.
But I would just love to, touch the hem of his garment, you know. But yeah, he's definitely one of my heroes. You know, I mean, there's so many great writers. I'm in Nashville quite often now, a couple times a month, and no, a couple times, about once every 2 months is what I'm trying to say. And I just came back from Nashville. I did the Grand Ole Opry, which was fantastic, and I got a standing ovation from all these country fans and a whole lot of tourists. But it was a lot of fun, and they loved the songs. I started with Vehicle, and everybody's singing the horn line, and it doesn't matter. There's no boundaries between country and rock and roll, really. And it's getting closer than ever, actually, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I think it was Steve Marriott who said, "A great song's a great song. Doesn't matter how you dress it up." It's
Yeah,
it's
he's right. He's right.
basic, basically. Yeah, what for you makes a good and memorable song?
Well, I'm a big melody guy. That's why I'm such a huge fan of Paul McCartney, because every time I would hear a Paul song, it would be an earwig. That was before the term earwig was popular. But you just couldn't get it out of your mind. Even before you knew the words, you knew the
Yeah,
melody, you know?
exactly.
And so to me, it starts with melody. And then if you hang some good words on it, you might have a hit record.
And a great riff as well. I mean, what strikes me about a lot of your songs is that the riff is instant as well as the melody.
The riff is, in rock and roll, you know, and no other form is the riff so important. You know, really, when you think about it, look at Satisfaction. Without that riff,
Yeah,
it wouldn't be Satisfaction.
exactly. Yeah, it's great. I've just got a couple of quick questions to end with, if that's possible. And this one is impossible, so don't expect an answer.
Okay.
If you could have been a fly on the wall in the studio for the creation of any album at any point in time, what do you love to have been there just to see how it all happened?
Oh man, the room where it happened. The room where it happened. Yeah. Good question.
Creativity.
Yep. Well, it probably would go back to the Beatles, and it wouldn't even be in the studio as much as at the piano with John on his J160 and Paul on the piano, and they're trading back and forth, and Lennon was the acid. And that sucks, Paul. I don't know what the word "sucks" was in, but no, you can do better, Paul. And Paul would, oh, okay, well, try this. Or Paul would write a whole song, and John would come in with the bridge, and it's getting better all the time. It don't get no worse, says John. Always the vinegar and the sugar.
Yeah.
And that was such a powerful collaboration. It really was, and I think I'd like to be in the room while they were writing some of those amazing songs.
That would have been fantastic. And the last question we always ask everyone the first time we speak to them, it's a really easy one to end with. What is the meaning of life?
Oh, that's so easy. I mean, I almost don't want to embarrass you with that easy question, but I'll try. Well, I think it's identifying your gift, whatever that is. Everyone has a gift. Identifying it, developing it, and then sharing it. That's the meaning of life to me. If everyone did those three things, it'd be a pretty great world.
It would, Jim. And thank you for sharing your gift with us. I mean, that's certainly made my musical life far richer over the years. Wonderful new album. I think it's out 10th of December.
Close. The vinyl and download is November 5th, and
Yeah.
the orange vinyl comes out.
That's the one I'm after. Yeah.
Then me too. And that's going to be amazing. Double orange vinyl, and my turntable is warming up and ready to go.
That's fantastic. It's been an absolute pleasure for me, Jim. I hope it hasn't been too bad for you, your end.
Horrible, Mark. Just terrible torture. No, it's been great. It's a pleasure talking to you.